move 8 points clear from the rest of the field. Meanwhile, Velez will have a look at the lineup. Gastón Gómez is the keeper. Tomás Guidara, Lautaro Gianetti the captain. Uruguay's Diego Godín and Francisco Ortega in defense. Cristian Ordóñez, Elías Cabrera and Damián Fernández in the midfield. Gianluca Prestiani, the wonder kid. The veteran Lucas Prato and Lucas Jansson are the three strikers. Meanwhile, Ríver Plate with some interesting faces. Franco Armani is the keeper. Andrés Herrera, Robert Rojas from Paraguay, Leandro González Pires and Milton Casco in defense. Ignacio Fernández, Rodrigo Aliendro and Uruguay's Nicolás de la Cruz in the midfield. Farther up, Pablo Solari on the right wing, left wing for Ezequiel Barco, and Colombia's Miguel Borja is the striker. Keep an eye on the number 19 on the bench, Claudio Echeverri, 17 years old. The big sensation of the South American Championship with Argentina a couple of months ago. In Ecuador, making his first appearance in the bench. These are the results of the round, a round with very few goals. Atlético Tucumán 1, Arsenal 0, Gimnasia 0, Sarmiento 0. Platense 1, Belgrano 0, Independiente 1, Lanús 1, Barraca Central 1, San Lorenzo 0. Defensa y Justicia 1, Racing 1. Talleres 1, Argentinos Juniors 0. The same result for Boca over Tigre, 2-0 for Newell's over Godoy Cruz. And Banfield against Rosario Central today. Colón tied in 2 goals with Central Córdoba. Unión beats Huracán in Buenos Aires, a crucial win for them. Instituto and Estudiantes are 0-0, and Velez will close the round with Ríver Plate. The standings have Ríver Plate leading ahead of San Lorenzo, 40-35. Then Talleres on 34, Estudiantes, Defensa y Justicia, Rosario Central, Lanús, Belgrano, Boca, Newell's, Godoy Cruz, Sarmiento, Argentinos Juniors, and Platense. Closing the first half of the standings. And then in second page, after Tigre, Barraca Central, Gimnasia, Instituto, Central Córdoba, Colón, Racing, Independiente, Huracán, Atlético Tucumán, Banfield, we find Velez in 26th place, only ahead of Unión and Arsenal. Beautiful atmosphere in Liniere's neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Francisco Aure, and it's a pleasure to leave you with Juan Arango and Matt Lawrence for the 90-minute action. Good evening, Juan. Good evening, Matt. Gentlemen, pleased to have you.
Thank you, Fran. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to be with everyone. And when you look at this match, it might end up looking at it from a perspective. You might end up looking at it from the perspective of it's just another step for Ríver to once again consolidate themselves as the eventual champion in waiting, as they're top of the table comfortably, and they could add even more to their cushion. As Fran mentioned earlier, San Lorenzo losing, it could now be an 8-point difference. But it's not only the 8-point difference that ends up being the talking point. It's Ríver how they play in league compared to Ríver how they played in Libertadores. It's two different teams, and many have gone and labeled Bayern Núñez, Ríver Munich, obviously mentioning the references to Martín de Michelis, and some even going as far as saying this Ríver is the best Ríver that has ever gone and played, better than Gallardo. Now, it's time to put on the brakes a bit in terms of that. They have to prove that they are on their way to becoming something similar as that, or reaching that standard, reaching that bar that's been established over the past 8 years to continue that level of excellence. And in front of them, they have a team that has been able to give them headaches regardless of where in the table they found themselves, more usually on the bottom than towards the top. So it's no easy task, but if Ríver get it done tonight, it's one step closer to winning yet another league title, Matt Lawrence.
Good evening, Juan. Always an absolute pleasure and privilege to be alongside yourself and Francisco, especially for a game of the magnitude of this. Yes, you've laid it out nicely, as has Francisco. Teams near the top and teams near the bottom. Velez, obviously, just 2 places above that bottom spot. But you're right, River Plate sometimes struggle against Velez, and we mustn't forget that Velez are unbeaten in their last 6 games at home. Granted, 5 of those have been draws. We also mustn't forget exactly what you mentioned about River Plate. There's no way we can mention this team in the same breath as a Gallardo River Plate just yet. This is a side who is yet to prove itself on the road in continental action, in CONMEBOL Libertadores. This is a side who lost 3-1 away at the strongest, who lost 5-1 away at Fluminense. And in Libertadores action, they've conceded 11 goals in 4 games. That's nigh on 3 goals per game as an average. They've only won 1 game, continentally speaking. So yes, they're almost all conquering at the moment domestically, but to be a proven big-hitting River Plate side, you need to play well in Libertadores, and you need to push yourself up to getting into the final, if not winning the whole competition, and that doesn't look as though it's going to happen right now. Yeah. It's a Jekyll and Hyde River Plate side, in my opinion, at the moment, one.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard a lot. I mean, I hear a lot with the Argentine media, many comparing them to Gallardo's, or even better than Gallardo's, comparing them to Bayern Munich, comparing them, saying, hey, this team can compete with Manchester City. I rest my case. But they are right now the champions in waiting, because domestically they are head and shoulders above the rest. Fernando Chenica, the referee, he'll be accompanied by Ivan Núñez and Jose Castelli as the assistants. Gaston Monzon Brizuela will be the 4th referee, and of course on VAR it'll be Hector Paleta. On AVAR it'll be Ezequiel Brailovsky. Of course, Lucas Prato, his history in River lore will forever be etched. That night in Madrid, and in many other nights where he ended up being one of the heroes for River. So he knows exactly what this means, and everyone knows exactly what this match means to him. And for Franco Armani too, who ends up having to revert, and he's regressed over the past couple, so much so that he did not get called up for the Argentine national team in their tour to Asia in a couple of weeks' time. Armani, there's obvious reasons. He's playing Libertadores. He's in the middle of the league. But his form has also been under question, especially over the last few weeks, especially midweek against Sporting Cristal, where he was the main culprit in that goal that the Peruvians scored. And they almost ended up winning that match to boot. I'm talking about Sporting Cristal. Martín de Michelis, who embraced Ricardo Gareca. Interesting to say, because both of them former River players. Gareca had an interesting career at River. One of those that has that distinction of playing for both Boca and River. And Gareca, of course, his own history with the Argentine national team as well. Same thing with De Michelis. So we're waiting for the indications for the referee. Matt, what do we start looking at?
Well, I think we look at which River Plate side come out and play here. We've discussed that they're not great away from home. We've discussed that, yes, they're all conquering domestically, but they've stuttered recently in terms of CONMEBOL Libertadores. Yes, I know this is a domestic game, but can they revert back to that domestic form? You guys have mentioned it. 8 points, they would go clear with a win here.
As we'll have a moment of silence, actually a minute of applause to be more specific. Of course, the passing of that man right there, Benito Castillo, who was a assistant with the Velez reserve. Again, our condolences to the family of Hernan Manriquez. We begin. An integral part of the development and the youth side over at Velez Sarsfield. As we're underway, Velez in their traditional blue and white, River in their alternate black and red. And away we go as it's Herrera, Marcelo, as he gets to start it right back. Milton Casco moving over to the left. He's been River's do-everything man. Milton Casco playing at right back, at left back, sometimes even at center mid. Sometimes replacing, on occasion, replacing players like Enzo Perez, or on this day, Rodrigo Aliendro. Perez not playing, obviously, as he has to sit out a match. Ball that's recovered in the middle of the pitch. It was Lucas Hanson who couldn't fully gain possession. Nacho Fernandez playing it back out wide to Paulo Solari. And Chila Gomez grabbing it, taking it away, of course, the former Racing goalkeeper.
Certainly a comfortable save there early on for Gaston Gomes. He'll be very happy to get an early touch. Most goalkeepers want to get an early touch in the game, just to get those gloves feeling good around the ball. But we look at this Velez side, we talk a lot about Ríver Plate and whether we see the Jekyll, whether we see the Hyde, whether we see the team that plays in the domestic competitions, whether we see the side that stuttered playing in CONMEBOL Libertadores. But Velez have struggled themselves. Yes, sitting 26th, but it's the goals. No goals in 279 minutes coming into this game now, over 280 minutes. Only one goal in the last 6 games, so one goal in 540 minutes of football. And when you've got men like Lucas Prato, and you've got players like Prestiani and Lucas Hanson in the team, you would expect more. It's been a struggle in the attacking sense for Velez.
Dropping back and controlling it with the captain, Lautaro Gianetti, Diego Godin. Dropping back is Damian Fernandez, circulating the ball. Pancho Ortega having to drop back. Ortega protecting, shielding the ball away from Solari, not doing enough. Great job by Nacho Fernandez. It's Borja, back to Solari. Solari, as he covers, as he prevents Godin from getting possession of the ball. Solari back into the middle, goes to Nacho Fernandez. Fernandez, Aliendro, Nico de la Cruz, Ezequiel Barco having to go back out wide to Milton Casco. Casco with the cross, looking over to Solari. It's cleared away there towards the end. River will still maintain possession and will still insist on pressuring.
Yeah, look, this is a good opening start for Ríver Plate. We know it's only a few minutes in, but they've been very good in terms of their ball movement. It's been slick and it's been very, very precise so far.
The foul being called there as Velez were able to kind of force the issue a little bit away, as Marcelo Herrera being called for the infraction. And as Fran mentioned, many eyes on what's on the pitch, many eyes are what's off the pitch. And what I mean off the pitch, I mean on the bench, especially for River. Claudio Echeverri, hopefully many are waiting for him to make his first division debut. Newest wonder kid to be coming out of River's youth system. There's a good through ball. This could be promising. Coming on the opposite side, Franco Armani able to stifle Lucas Prato on this occasion.
You see with his hand gestures there, just insinuating that he didn't strike through the ball cleanly enough. And Armani, just as his opposite number, Gaston Gomes, will be happy with his early save, so will Armani. And when you mentioned the travails, the poor form, maybe we can say, of Franco Armani, they were absolutely all conquering defensively, and that includes Armani, of course, and the whole Ríver Plate side earlier on in the season. It's gone to pot in Libertadores play with 11 goals conceded in 4. Not an away win in the league since April the 16th either, and only 1 clean sheet in the last 6 games in all competitions. This is a side that were so very, very stoic, so very resilient defensively earlier on in the season. That has all gone away right now.
But despite that, they've been able to get results in domestic play. And add to that, against Fluminense in their next match in Libertadores, they won't have Enzo Perez, which is a huge loss. He has to sit out due to suspension.
Right, that's a big part of it, suspension. So that's in my notes. 5 red cards in their last 8 games for River Plate. That is part of the reason that not only have they conceded goals, but they haven't won games as well. You have to have discipline. It's the last thing any manager says to you as you walk out of the tunnel or walk out of the dressing room. Keep 11 men on the pitch. It's so much easier to win a game when you've got all 11 out there. 5 of the last 8, they've had 10 or less players that end the game.
As we continue, as we progress in the early stages of this match, we're just getting started here at the Jose Amalfitani. Good work being done here by Elias Cabrera, playing it back out wide, sliding in was González Pires, recovering Milton Casco. Then you start to see some of the cracks in the defense for River. But then you start to see how quickly they're able to move forward on the other end. Ezequiel Barco, Nacho Fernandez. Fernandez with the cross to the opposite post, and it's finally cleared away. It's cleared away, of course, by Tomás Guidara. Guidara poking it forward, pushing the issue. It goes to Gianluca Prestiani. Prestiani. Guidara also trailing. Guidara now giving support. Good ball into the middle for Lucas Hansson. Back and forth so far in the first few minutes, but a ball it's way too complicated for Ortega. Solari. Robert Rojas waiting in the middle. Instead it goes to Rodrigo Aliendro. González Pires. I was about to say something about González Pires, and I'll just hold it for later on. Rojas. Aliendro. I also mentioned about how versatile Milton Casco is. What about Nico de la Cruz? Look at his new position. De la Cruz. Nacho Fernandez. It goes off the referee. You see the early engagement, the incursions by Velez. Rojas. Herrera. Barco dropping back nearly to basically to be alongside Robert Rojas, the Paraguayan. Playing it out down the left to Milton Casco. De la Cruz. Rojas, as that ball gets away from him. Does have the outlet with Herrera. Secured once again by the Paraguayan. Two will be an option for Guillermo Barros Queloto. De la Cruz. Barco back to De la Cruz. Further behind, and it'll roll right to Chila Gomez.
Certainly when they start fizzing that ball around River Plate, it looks very, very good there. The final ball wasn't quite on the money for Nico de la Cruz. And just a few moments ago when you talked about defensive cracks for River, whenever you talk about a team and defending and their quality defend, you often think of just the defenders. But when I look at this River Plate side, I look at a number of players who aren't willing to work on both sides of the ball, and that is not defenders. I'm talking about the likes of Barco, Borja, Solari, De La Cruz at times, Nacho Fernandez. There's not that many willing runners to get back goal side of the ball.
Is that a foul on... I'm trying to figure out here, is Giannetti... Well, Giannetti came in and played the ball. As Aliendro writhing in pain right now, obviously.
Yeah, Giannetti plays the ball. He knows he's going to follow through and probably catch the opposition player. There's no way that Aliendro is ever going to get there, in my opinion. He's the one who kind of dangles his leg. Yes, it hurts. I'm not sure that this even is a free kick.
And immediately River's bench begins to move around. Matias Craneviter getting ready to come on. A former Atletico Madrid, former Zenit St. Petersburg man. Or spent some time in Mexico with Monterrey. Look who's there. No, it's not Larry David.
Game.
No, it's not. It's not Larry David, Matt. It's Carlos Bianchi. Which basically there's a lot of jokes about that, especially, of course, when his series came out. Man, he looks so much like Carlos Bianchi. Pancho Ortega. Having some trouble collecting it. Damian Fernandez recovered by Nacho Fernandez. Rojas. Velez, it's been basically a religious experience recovering the ball. And once they get it, okay, what do we do with it? Rojas. Herrera. Herrera, good through ball. It goes to Nacho Fernandez, has Borja in the middle. It bounces around a couple of defenders. Velez finally collecting it and composed defensively. Hanson. So again?
He's having some joy, isn't he, down this right-hand side, is Herrera.
Oh, I thought you were saying Bianchi.
Bianchi and Larry David have had a great game so far. Bianchi looking slightly hungrier than Larry. Bianchi and Larry David have had a great game so far. Bianchi
will be. But Craneviter getting ready just in case. Milton Casco. As we get into the 12th, almost 13th minute of play. De La Cruz. González Pires. Aliendro. Rojas. River just moving that ball around with some purpose and precision. Solari. As Diego Godin swipes that ball away, it'll be a quick throw-in for El Millonario.
I'm with you. The ball is moved around with a purpose and played around with precision and with speed as well. Every single player on the ball has that first or second touch and has a picture in their head of where the ball is going next. And predominantly they're looking forward as well, first option.
Collecting it, Prestiani. Getting past the defender was De La Cruz. Gianluca. Ortega. He gets around Solari, but then has to move it around. Watch out over on the far side. Had to move it quicker than that. But a lot of dribbling going around. The potential shot was there. Prestiani on the left side. Prestiani going 1v1. It's Prestiani that can't get around. Shoulder on shoulder. Ortega cleanly getting that ball. Across inside, looking for Prato! Clearing it away at the last minute. River on defense. Still going through. Coming around. Prestiani! As it goes and bothers and comes oh so close from a very complicated angle.
Certainly a good run from Prestiani. It looks as though he controlled it initially with his hand. He kind of leant into it. Fired it in at that near post. A good strong hand from Armani as the corner's been given. Wasn't quite sure that it's the goalkeeper's save or it hit the post. Good save from Armani, good strike from Prestiani.
Elias Cabrera, first corner kick of the match. Watch out with this man. Throughout his career, he's been lethal in set pieces. So you still have to at least recognize that. Elias. Cabrera, far post. Very complicated for Gianetti to keep it somewhat in play.
Quite on target from Prestiani. Armani couldn't be sure though. Good strong right hand, just bats it away for the first corner of the game. Prestiani is a lively figure, that is for certain. He's got absolutely bags of talent as a young man. Wonderful low centre of gravity, absolutely glides over the surface. That's carrying the ball. But he almost looks quicker with the ball than without it.
That says a lot. That really does.
Yeah, and I know that is, believe you me, I know that's not impossible, but it certainly looks that way. He's just got a real purpose about him when he runs with the ball.
Now it's Velez's turn. As they're holding, they're fighting for each loose ball, but River very composed, and now River accelerating full speed ahead. Barco, Nacho Fernandez, watch out with Herrera on the near side. Played out to Herrera. Borja inside, and instead the shot's taken by Herrera. Maybe it would have been a tougher angle to send it over in the direction of Borja as well.
Ball into Herrera as well. It was just slightly behind him. He just had to stutter step and hold his run. If it was played out in front of him, he could have taken the touch out of his feet and it's whipped it across goal. As it was, he went for a shot from a relatively tight angle. Never really going to trouble the goalie from there.
Nacho.
Goal. As it was, he went for a shot from a relatively tight angle. Never really going to trouble the goalie from there.
Leandro González Pires ends up playing that ball out of bounds. "17 minutes in, still no score here at the José Amalfitani. The foul will give River the ball back. It's been interesting to look at these first few minutes, how one's been able to absorb. Same thing can be said about the other, but how both teams are looking to attack in different manners.
Certainly, Velez are happy to get the ball into Prato and, of course, Prestiani as well. And he's dropping a little deeper to try and get on the ball. Prestiani is happy to just slide centrally as well if needs be. Borja certainly not a focal point of the attack, is he? He's never somebody who really joins in the build-up, play a great deal, Borja. Certainly very much happy to come alive when the ball goes out wide and is delivered into the penalty area.
Again, starting from the back, Rojas. As Herrera's been quite active so far in the early stages of this match. Same can be said about Nacho Fernandez, giving and going with his fullback. Aliendro. Casco, as he wanted to run into space, but everything has to come right back. Trying to maintain some shape in the middle of the pitch. Velez, quite evident in their 4-4 defending, as it forces River to go back out wide with Herrera. Niko de la Cruz individually being able to come through, and ball that's filtered wide, but no one really being able to get to it. River continuing to press. Herrera, can he keep it in bounds? No, he can't.
For me, that was the right ball into Herrera, just the wrong application. It just needed to be played in with the outside of the right foot. Here's a challenge, and in the penalty area, it looks like a clean challenge to me. Yes, there is a slight follow through, but Gonzalo Pires, he plays all ball.
I can tell you about 3 defenders that have played for the same team that when they left, they got better. González Pires is one of them.
Yeah, that doesn't take a great deal of working out, does it? That's for sure. And they continue to be the strongest team in the league.
Oh, I wasn't talking about River.
No, I know. I was talking about Miami. They're holding everyone else up.
Well, I was too. Between
That's what I mean.
him,
the strongest, they're the bottom. They're holding everybody above them up.
Yep. Him, Figal, and of course you could even add Damian Lowe to that list. All 3 of them, when they left Miami, they got better. Ball back into the middle. Filtered through to De La Cruz behind the intended target as Nacho Fernandez circulating and trying to recover that ball. Beginning to run out of room, Ordóñez. River pressing and forcing, and now it's Solari. Good work by Pancho Ortega. So if you look at this Velez squad overall, you end up seeing just the overwhelming majority of their players came out of their youth system. Barco has Milton Casco on the left, decides to cut back to his right. Herrera looking for Borja. Oh, that ball that ends up sliding in ever so dangerously. Prestiani. Ordóñez. As Velez playing the ball out cleanly. They are playing. Look, I can tell you right now that Velez are playing effort-wise, maybe not precision-wise or execution-wise. As it's Borja, the save by Chila Gomez. It'll be a corner kick coming up for El Millonario.
Yeah, well, look, this is the ball played in by Herrera. It takes a big deflection, which just takes it in behind that back line of Velez. It's a good challenge at the back post. Neither player plays the ball. You see the spin imparted as it takes that deflection. Nacho Fernandez just can't quite get on the end of it. And then it's Borja's shot at the near post. Never going to beat Gomez, or certainly should never beat him there at that near post. Good strong left hand though.
Corner kick, watch out. Looking to see if they can go near post. Nacho Fernandez, well aware of that, trying to keep it tight and close. Cleared away. The ball, Borja. It was going to be very difficult for him to even volley it first time. So commendable the effort by the Colombian.
Yeah, the hips ain't what they used to be. Just couldn't quite get up there. Get the hips over the ball. For me there, you've just got to throw yourself up in the air, try and get over the top of the ball. As it was, he tried to stay on his feet. He did stay on his feet. Always got underneath the ball always rising. River Plate, as we know, one dominating in terms of possession.
Prato, did I just hear you say his hips aren't what they used to be?
You certainly did. I know all about that. My hips don't move anymore.
Yeah, but he's not our age. He's 30. Solari.
That's very old in terms
of... Watch out with this opportunity. Nacho Fernandez right into the hands of Chila Gomez. Sorry about that.
My fault. You're right to take over. Yes, he's only 30, but that is young in terms of you and I, Juan, but that's not saying anything.
Yeah, footballer age ends up being a completely...
Your hips are a little bit more like concrete at 30.
Yeah, exactly. Football age ends up being a little bit different, isn't it? Prestiani being stifled by González Pires. De La Cruz. So far, this match has been maybe, I don't know if some would say exceeding expectations, but looking very good up to now. There's still a long ways to go. Solari! It'll be a corner kick. You see Chila Gomez there intervening. For a second, when you said that, I thought I was commentating Senior League or something like that.
Hey, 30 years old feels like you're senior if you've played 300 or 400 games in your career, that's for sure.
That is true. That is true. I can't argue with that. Another corner kick coming up for River. Watch out with Robert Rojas. That's why he's being draped on the way he is. There's one thing about Rojas. Yeah, okay, fine. He's not the tallest player. But if you've seen him before in set pieces, the way he jumps, look at how he frees himself. He has that penchant inside of the area. Milton Casco. And another ball that's continuing to flutter around dangerously for Velez. They have to try and clear it out as quickly as possible. They failed to do so. Aliendro. Solari, Solari, Solari. This could be the first one. It's bouncing around. The shot by Arco. Chila Gomez, sensational so far as Velez are teetering and River are getting oh so close.
Credit Aliendro here as well for just cutting that counter out. It's a ball falls to Barco. Yes, he strikes it really, really well. Does come to a crowd of players, but at a nice sight and ever so close to the goalkeeper. A good save nonetheless, a good reaction save from Gomez. To say that ball just coming through a crowd of players, he caught it late.
25, almost 26, and River are knocking on the door. De La Cruz. Corner kick number 3. Another chance here for River. De La Cruz looking to go near post. That ball fluttering around. Oh! Chila Gomez. Once again, Roja. Goal! Goal! As River take the lead finally. The 1, 2, 3, 5th time ends up being the charm for El Millonario as they jump on top. Robert Rojas. Looks like he's coming back.
Yeah, look, you said they were knocking on the door of River Plate, and you're absolutely right. And this is the blowing the doors off their hinges. First with the right foot, Rojas. And secondly, when it comes back to him, he keeps it down so well. So many players would slash at that. But you see the way he gets his knee right over the ball, strikes it down into the ground, zips off the surface here that's been freshly watered, and just finds its way towards that back post. River Plate, the goals don't always come from the places you expect. Credit Rojas there. 2 volleys, one with the right foot, one with the left foot. Both of them kept down and kept on target, and he reaped the rewards.
First goal of the season for Rojas, first goal in well over a year. His last goal was back on February 21st in a 2-0 victory over Newell's. February 21st of last year, I should say.
Well, they deserved it. They absolutely deserved it, did River Plate. Doesn't mean the job's done, far from it. But inside the opening half an hour, they've very much been the better side, nigh on 70% possession. 11 shots already, 6 on target. Only one of them, granted, has found the back of the net. But that's all they need so far. It's 279 minutes and counting coming into this game. Now over 300 minutes without a goal for Velez Sarsfield. Only 1 goal in their last 6 coming in. It shouldn't be a mountain to climb when you're 1-0 down, but it will certainly feel like it if you're a Velez Sarsfield player.
Of course, talking about Rojas, wow, first goal in well over a year. Now it's about 15 months since his last goal. But keep in mind, he was out for an extended period of time after suffering a very serious fracture in Libertadores play last year. So he just recently started to get in. And now you start to hear all the cheers and the support, a couple of spatterings of frustration with this Velez squad. Rojas. Sliding and slipping is González Pires, but still being able to shield the ball, protected and advancing it with Milton Casco. Nacho Fernandez. Herrera. Nacho. Barco. Barco's kind of been a up and down story ever since he arrived to River from Atlanta United. Moments that he's been improving, moments that he's kind of been off. There's moments that he ends up being a key component to this River side. Prato. The referee says no play on.
I don't know what's going on out there, but it's about 6 or 7 players now have lost their footing. I don't know whether the pitch was really watered after the players warmed up and it suddenly took a 15 minutes absolute lashing of watering, because there's no way I've lost. lost their footing. I don't know whether the pitch was really watered after the players warmed up and it suddenly took a 15 minutes absolute lashing of watering, because there's no getting closed down. Just gets that knee right over the ball, fires the ball into the turf just a yard in front of where he's standing, skips off this wet slippy surface as we know here, flies into that far post. He does really well, Rojas. And as you said, Juan, yes, the statistics don't lie. He hasn't scored in 15 months, but he hasn't played a great deal of football in that time.
That ball goes through. De La Cruz. Chila Gómez. De La Cruz. Chila Gómez.
As well, not quite on this occasion from Rojas, but let's credit Ríver Plέit. Since scoring as well, they haven't taken their foot off the gas. Still been very, very dominant. Velez, on the other hand, I think they started reasonably brightly inside the opening 10 or 15 minutes, didn't create a great deal. It's kind of gone downhill from there.
Foul being called there. Velez again losing that, and ball just going right through.
De La Cruz may think that Gaston Gomes is off his line. He possibly was, but no more than about 8 or 9 yards out. No way you're going to beat Gomes from there. Certainly not with such a little backlift from De La Cruz, and certainly not when he skews it that far wide.
There's a foul, well, not being called by the referee. The fans, of course, getting upset.
Well, they're desperate to see something, aren't they, the fans? They're not getting a great deal from their players at the moment. They want something from the referee.
Godin. A wonderful drone shot there.
It really is. What a great atmosphere, and certainly what a great setting for a game of football here. The fans, though, are hoping that Velez Sarsfield, their players out there, can turn up relatively soon, because the last 20 minutes they haven't.
Here's a chance. Lucas Hansson was caught between two minds. He wanted to shoot, he wanted to chip it over, as Franco Armani was positioned well enough, but he ends up mishitting it.
He really does, and look, the good thing is that he's made that run. It's a perfect run. It's a perfect first touch as well. Then he really snatches at it, strikes the outside of the right foot, hits underneath the ball as well, always rising. It's a glorious opportunity for Lucas Hansson. 4 goals in his 13 games so far, this being the 14th in the league. Certainly should have hit that on target.
Solari. As again, Velez having all sorts of issues in terms of recovery, cleared away by Gianetti. Godin. Getting that ball back into the middle for Damian Fernandez as we progress in this first half. River still with a 1-0 lead as we get into the 37th minute of play.
Yeah, and it's comfortable so far, one for River. Yes, they got opened up by Lucas Hansson just recently, but the shot was a long way off target. Apart from that, I can't remember a great deal in the last 30 minutes or so. And River Plate almost has been lulled into a false sense of security. They've dropped the pace off a little bit themselves, not quite fizzing the ball around as much as they did. Not seen as much from the likes of De La Cruz and Nacho Fernandez, but this is good for Herrera, who's had a good game so far.
Again, another ball that's missed by Borja.
Well, it's got to be close to a foul because the ball certainly isn't played. Yes, I think Borja goes over a little bit too easily from that challenge from Gianetti. Gianetti dangles the leg. As we know, forwards fall over dangled legs very, very easily. Gianetti gets nowhere near the ball. I thought initially maybe he did play the ball. He certainly didn't.
Godin was trying to play it, or excuse me, Lucas Prato was looking to play it quickly, but couldn't get to it. Of course, things didn't set themselves for that. And of course, the ball ends up going out of bounds, and Velez having all sorts of issues. Speaking of issues, Marcelo Herrera got stepped on. Right there, you see. Prato, of course, well aware of that. Yeah.
Just kicks the bottom of Prato's foot. I don't think there's too much in it. I think Prato knew, though, that with the follow-through, Herrera could easily kick the undersole of his foot. The referee letting a lot go at the moment, and as long as it's consistent, I don't mind that.
As long as he's consistent, we know what we're dealing with.
Precisely. As long as both sets of players and the fans and broadcasters, everybody watching on, as long as it's consistency, that's all you can ask for. The same for both teams. If you let certain fouls go, you have to let them go for both teams. If you want a certain level of physicality, as long as it's the same for both teams, I don't mind when referees let that go.
De La Cruz, back out wide. Casco, Nacho Fernandez. as he slips, but is able to maintain his composure, getting past two defenders. De La Cruz, Milton Casco, a little bit too short for him. And finally, the former Newell's man ends up getting called for the infraction.
Yeah, it's an absolute hospital ball from De La Cruz. It's a simplistic ball as well into Casco. He absolutely underhits it. Here's the goal again. Good reflex save from Gomez. The only thing he won't be happy about, Gomez, is the fact he offers up the rebound back out centrally. For me, a goalkeeper would want to push that out wide and behind for a corner. Look, I know it's a reaction save. I know it's a reflex save and getting a little bit critical. And I know the goalkeepers are critical of themselves and their goalkeeper. Ultimately, he would want to turn that round the post.
As a foul will be called. Final 4 minutes of this first half. River have just basically shown their superiority, both on paper and on grass. Velez have looked to make a brave effort, but it's still not enough. Guidara knocking that ball out to touch.
No, I absolutely concur. The superiority, that's the word. It's evident, it's there to see, it's there on paper, and it's been there in principle as well, and in practice, out in front of our very eyes right now at the Estadio Jose Malfitani. And you just mentioned the word, the name, Thomas Guidara. He's one of the better fullbacks for me in the league. I've hardly mentioned his name. Hasn't got forward enough, and he's been pushed right back by the likes of Casco.
Also by Borja, who's been camping up near that sector. Borja making a run towards the middle. Another hospital ball being given, and Guidara will just wait for that ball to just trickle out.
Yeah, the passing's not quite been there. It hasn't been as precise, that's for certain, in the last 10 or 15 minutes for River Plate. I used the phrase, almost been lulled into a false sense of security. It's been so easy so far. They've taken their foot off the gas, almost mentally and physically. There's not as much pace to the game. There's not as much technical quality from River themselves. And while it's 1-0, it's simple for a team to get back into the game. Only takes one moment, a genius or one big slip up, and players are slipping up left, right and centre in this game.
We'll see if Prestiani has that moment of genius, and De La Cruz is flying in with that forearm as a yellow card goes up, and it's for the Uruguayan international.
Yeah, the ball may go past me, but the man certainly won't. And he leaves a little bit on Prestiani.
So only Uruguayans have been booked in this match. Free kick coming up for El Fortín. Final 90 seconds plus whatever time will be added on by the referee. It'll be Cabrera. Armani coming out. Punch. Oh, again he loses the ball, but it's cleared away. Again, that's been part of the struggle for Franco Armani. Remember that he was at one point the starting goalkeeper for the Argentine national team. And as many have wanted to criticize Dibu Martinez, looked like offside by Borja. Play will continue. 3v4 on 3, 4 on 4, now 4 on 5. Looking to cut back inside. Nacho Fernandez has Solari all alone. He's going to try and bring it down. He does so. It gets blocked. Play will continue. I thought Borja looked offside there for a second when the play initiated. But River continue moving it around. Aliendro. Solari. Solari going up against Godin. As there was a handball.
It certainly looked that way, the handball from Solari. This ball is just dinked into the penalty area. It's simple. It should be so easy for a goalkeeper. Big time of flight on the ball. We see the handball from Solari. Before that, though, Armani, as you said, Juan, absolutely top quality goalkeeper, but he's having a lull, a dip in form right now. So easy for him just to call off Borja and catch that ball, or meet it with two fists and punch it 20, 30 yards clear. As it was, he spilled it. With a goalkeeper of his frame, he can jump, use his knees, can push Borja out the way. Yes, I know a teammate. As a defender or an attacking player who is defending, you don't mind when a goalkeeper comes to the back of you and clears you out, as long as they deal with the ball, and Armani didn't deal with the ball.
as Ricardo Gareca giving indications. We're already into stoppage time, maybe 2 minutes. One minute will be added on. Yeah, I think that's more than enough. So a goal in the 26th minute as this ball goes through. Oh, and couldn't make that move back inside to set it up for his right foot. Lucas Hansson, it'll still be a corner kick. If they do it quickly, it could be the equalizer. Second corner kick of the match for El Fortín. Lucas Hansson. Could it come right now? Time about to expire into this first half, or at least the 1 minute's about to be played. Ball served in. Armani stays put. Frank waiting as it was Lucas Prestiani recovering it. Prestiani serving in, cleared away by Nacho Fernandez. That should be it. And it will be it. As we are at halftime here at the Jose Amalfitani. It's been a tough one, but River have been able to show their mettle, and they are up by the slightest of margins, Matt.
Yes, it is only slight margins in terms of goal scoring, but they've been superior in every single field. Possession, shots on target, corner kicks. It's been a good performance from River without being overwhelming, without being that clinical. For me, Velez have offered very, very little so far, but it's still only 1-0. Velez is still in this game.
Exactly, and we'll find out how things play out in the second half. But first, we'll have Francisco out and giving it everything that has gone on in the round and how this may impact it all. Exactly, and we'll find out how things play out in the second half. But first, we'll have Francisco out and giving it everything that has gone on in the round and how this may impact it all. Don't go away.
Como dice el video, ya somos más de 55.000 socios.
Welcome back to the José Amalfitani Stadium. Velez and Ríver Plέitr are playing here, closing round number 18 of the Argentinian Liga Profesional de Fútbol. The score is 1-0 to the visitors, with a goal scored by Robert Rojas. You can read the schedule of the weekend on screen. Atlético Tucumán beats Arsenal 1-0. Gimnasia and Sarmiento tied with no goals. A one-goal victory for Platense over Belgrano. Crucial win for them. The same for Barraca Central against San Lorenzo. A 1-1 draw between Independiente Lanús and the Defensa y Justicia Racing. Then 1-0 wins for Talleres over Argentinos Juniors, and Boca against Tigre. Newell's beat Godoy Cruz 2-0. The same for Banfield today against Rosario Central. Colón tied with 2-2 with Central Córdoba. Unión beats Huracán. No goals between Instituto and Estudiantes, and Ríver Plate is leading 1-0 against Velez. Every result came out in Ríver Plate's favor, with Estudiantes, with San Lorenzo, and with Rosario Central, also Defensa y Justicia. That's why the standings have now Ríver Plate leading on 43 points, followed by San Lorenzo on 35, Talleres on 34, Estudiantes on 32, Defensa y Justicia 30. All of them, except for Talleres, lost track to Ríver Plate. The same for Rosario Central. Then Lanús, Belgrano, Boca, Newell's, Godoy Cruz, Sarmiento, Argentinos Juniors, and Platense. In the second page, we find Velez stuck in 26, only ahead of Unión and Arsenal on 17 points. Velez very, very close to relegation. That's so dangerous for the second semester of the year. Let's have a look at the highlights of the game of these first 45 minutes. Respect between Martín de Michelis and Ricardo Gareca. This is the first chance. Nacho Fernandez with a great ball through. Classy as always for Miguel Borja. Very good shot by the Colombian. Demanding an effort from Gaston Gomez, the former keeper of Racing. Pablo Solari with the cross. Received in the other side. Nacho Fernandez with the shot. And Gomez saves. This is Pablo Solari with a good dribbling in the box. Borja misses. Barco tries his luck, and a great save once again by Gaston Gomez. Put under pressure many times by Ríver Plate in the first half. Corner kick for Ríver Plate. Rojas rebound. Another attempt by Herrera. Rojas again. And finally the goal for Ríver Plate after many shots on targets. Many attempts. Finally the Millonario got the lead, which was, truth to be said, very well deserved. As you can see how they were dominating Velez in the first half. 25 minutes in and Ríver Plate was leading. Then this dangerous move. Cabrera, Jansson. Good pass from Elias Cabrera to Lucas Jansson, but the former striker of Tigre got it all wrong. Anyway, this was the best of the first half. We had a draw between Colón and Central Córdoba. We had a win from Banfield over Rosario Central, and a priceless win by Unión over Huracán. You cannot imagine, ladies and gentlemen, how packed things have got in the bottom of the standings. As things are now, still Arsenal and Platense are the bottom two averages. And Union is the last team in the standings that is falling down to second division. But 2 points ahead is Velez. 1 more point up, Banfield, Atlético Tucumán, Huracán and Independiente. Another point up, Colón and Racing. So the battle for relegation could be incredible. Let's have a look at the goals from today. We start in Santa Fe with Brian Farioli, former player of Colón, playing on the right side, and a good anticipation by Lucas Bezzosi. Bezzosi anticipating the defender and putting the score 1-0, beating Eric Mesa to the ball. Then Bezzosi steals the ball. Lucas Gamba runs with loads of space ahead. And Gamba will assist Leandro Maciel, who stops the ball and scores a beautiful goal. Very good shot by the former player of Aldo Civi. Gamba playing a special game. He was part of Union a few years ago. In the second half, Colón would recover with this great goal by Ramon Avila. On the 50th minute, Colón was reducing the difference, and 3 minutes later, free kick and the header into his own nets from Fabio Pereira. Own goal by the captain. And in the end, Central Córdoba let the 3 points escape from their hands. We go to Buenos Aires, from Santa Fe to Buenos Aires, because Unión, through Mauro Luna Diale, got an incredible win. The team that is in last place won their only 3rd game in 17 rounds. Still, they are down in a relegation zone. Banfield, by the 3rd minute of the game, was leading 1-0 thanks to this shot by Nicolás Sosa Sanchez, and the rebound by Jorge Brown was sent into the net by Milton Jiménez. And look at this, Facundo Maggio misses once against Sebastián Sosa Sanchez and then gives the ball away to Milton Jiménez, who sealed his brace and scored for Banfield once again. Bad pass by the Uruguayan. Sosa Sanchez was pressuring him, and Jiménez said thank you very much, and it was the last goal of the day until now, until Robert Rojas' goal for River Plate. Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching Velez against River Plate. My name is Francisco Aure. It's a pleasure to be with you alongside Juan Arango and Matt Lawrence, bringing you the match commentary. And I would like to ask to our co-commentator Matt, you have explained perfectly with loads of data how River Plate is imposing themselves over Velez, and that's certainly not uncontestable, but seems a very solid position right now for River Plate. My question is, if this turns around, would it be because of Velez increasing performance, or do you think that River Plate, who have shown themselves a little bit vulnerable from time to time, can still get that make that kind of mistakes that suddenly a game that seems quite under control gets completely out of control? What are your thoughts?
Francisco, I think predominantly it has to come from Velez. I don't think you can rely on the opposition to make a mistake. I agree with you that at times we've seen River being vulnerable, certainly recently. I said it in commentary, only 1 clean sheet in the last 6, but for me it has to come from Velez. We have to see more from Guidara and Ortega pushing on from the fullback roles. And we certainly have to see more quality ball into Lucas Prato. You then need to probably start looking to the bench if nothing happens, whether the manager, Ricardo Gareca, whether he makes changes at half-time, who knows. But you look down at the bench, the likes of Julian Fernandez, the young talent, prodigious talent with 2 goals, Walter Bow with 2 goals himself. You do have to think that looking at what we've seen in the first 45, the quality and the technical ability needed to break down this River Plate defence probably has to come from somebody who's not in the game so far, because it's been poor going forward. I think in the opening 10, possibly 15 minutes, Velez held their own, but they still couldn't really impose their style on the game. They still couldn't really force Armani to make any great saves. I think he only made 2 saves in that first 45, and both of them he would expect to make. So my assumption would be, whether it's substitutions now at half-time or inside the opening 5 or 10 minutes of this second half, I think that's where the quality needs to come from, and that's where the difference maker may be for Velez, because at the moment it's far too comfortable for River. You said it, I explained, and Juan's mentioned it in terms of stats, and we don't always go by stats, but just our eye shows us that River are much the better team, and every statistical column is in the favour of River Plate as well. So Velez have to do something, whether it's a change in formation or a change in personnel, or maybe just a change in mindset. Who knows? But something has got to change, and for me, I would automatically look towards the bench.
Well, it seems that Ricardo Gareca has read your mind, Matt, because that player you see in the bottom of the screen, now leaving the framing, is Lenny Lobato, the Brazilian-born winger that is about to enter the field. We will confirm shortly who has left. We see that Gianluca Prestiani is back in the field. I think Lucas Prato is back as well. Will it be perhaps Fernandez, perhaps Cabrera? It's Lucas Johnson. We get confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, with one change in Velez. Juan Arango and Matt Lawrence will bring you the second half of Velez 0, River Plate 1.
So, as Fran mentioned, substitution coming on is Lenny Lobato. Is there another one coming on? There looked like there was a second one that was going to come on as well. But Lobato for sure, as he enters the fray. Hanson just really didn't have much going on in the overall scheme of things. So bring in another one of the youth players for Velez, as Lenny Ivo Lobato Romanelli coming on, the young man from Bucios in Rio de Janeiro. As we get ready for the second half, Diego Godin anchoring the middle alongside Lautaro Gianetti. It's Prestiani with a good ball through. Let the kids play, I guess. That's the best way to do it. Either they play their way in or they play their way out. Lobato. Velez looking to play that ball from the left into the middle, cleared away by Robert Rojas. From outside, way outside. Now, mind you, if they were playing rugby, then it would have been close.
Yeah, they've had a couple of conversions, that's for sure, have Velez Sarsfield. And you just mentioned the kids, and I can't disagree with you, Juan. If the older, more experienced players can't get it done, then bring on the kids. At times, there's not as much pressure on the kids. Go out there, have fun, enjoy yourself, play with a smile on your face. And those attacking players, the likes of Lobato or Julian Fernandez, when they come on, be direct, run up players, try and scare the opposition. Because certainly nothing happened in the first half from Lucas Hanson, apart from he got into a great position and skied one over the crossbar. So Lobato can't do any worse, let's be honest.
Now the big question for Gareca, and obviously he wasn't going to come just for the sake of romanticism alone. He wants to come in and be able to build something and work his way up, not only in terms of quality, but also work his way up in terms of the standings and get Velez as far away from the bottom of the table, I'm talking about relegation-wise, as possible. Pancho Ortega. But there's an issue there. There's been a lot of protests within Velez Sarsfield fans. Some in the past couple of weeks. Ball recovered there by Damian Fernandez, continuing to push forward with Ortega. Lobato, Ortega, Fernandez, Ordóñez. We've known, I mean, off the top of your head, some of the biggest transfers that have occurred over the past few years in Argentine football? You can mention 3, right?
Yeah, certainly like the likes of Almada coming from Velez. That is for certain. For me, one of the bigger ones comes from River is Julian Alvarez. For me,
yes, sir.
Maybe not biggest in terms of finances because they got such a wonderful deal, but in terms of quality and his ability to improve even the Manchester City side's right up there. That's for sure.
And let's remember Enzo Fernandez as well. As a foul being called, it'll be Lautaro Giannetti going into the referee's book. So you have both central defenders with a yellow card. Now, with River, a lot of that money that they were able to get from Fernandez, from Alvarez, was reinvested back into the team. One of the reasons why they were able to get Borja, one of the reasons why they were able to strengthen their side in certain phases, being able to help Nacho Fernandez return from Atlético Mineiro. So you see that investment returning, and it's been used wisely, although it does help when when the president of River Plate is also a president of one of the biggest banks in Argentina. That also helps out a lot as well. But outside of that, the finances at River have been managed relatively well compared to Velez, who Thiago Almada's money, many are saying, okay, where'd it go?
Well, not reinvested. I assume that is where we're going. It's not been reinvested, that is for certain.
Or it wasn't reinvested in Velez, that's for sure.
It wasn't reinvested in the football, yes.
Yeah.
Invested somewhere.
And then with the impending, and you and I have heard about it for a couple of months now, the impending departure of Thiago Almada to Europe for the approximate price tag of $40 million. Well, part of that money is going to go to Velez as well. Now, what's going to happen there? So my point is, Velez need to get reinforcements and get him quickly, especially during this summer transfer window, or winter, since you're talking about South America. Prestiani. Of course, he and Barco going at it.
The way he carries the ball, though, it's wonderful to watch. Yes, he hasn't had a massive influence on the game yet, Prestiani, but just seeing there, the way he just manipulates the ball with either the outside or the inside of either foot. It's so difficult to take the ball off him. You certainly want him on your five-a-side team in training.
6 in the area, looking to crash. There's Prato. Had to kind of contort himself a little bit to even get a strike.
Yeah, initially I thought he looked as though he may have just strayed offside as well, Prato, but what he did do was stray in front of the near post, which makes it very, very hard just to open your body up and open that forehead up almost, just to glance it towards the back post. There was enough power on the delivery, though, that he could have done that. He just got too much on it. Just missed wide of that near post.
Armani. As we start to accumulate minutes in this second half. Fernandez recovered, well, at least looking recovered. Finally sneaking in, squirreling in to steal that ball is Gianluca Prestiani. Prato. Cabrera. Prato now trying to play as that number 9 up top. Look, good run. This could be promising. Looking to go down the middle. It's Ortega, the shot by Prato! Goal! Prato, 1-1. And what happened with River's defense? It was just absolutely melted. But what a ball to absolutely decompose this defense, completely onside. And the service after that, Ordóñez finding Lucas Prato. Look at Franco Armani, what is he doing?
This is a magnificent goal. Look, it's an absolutely mishit here. I think it might take a bit of a deflection as well from Lucas Prato. Certainly this isn't what he intends. He goes to strike it with the inside of his left foot and it hits his heel. I think he's trying to strike it in the direction Armani's going. Armani's read just the way he's opened the left foot out, Prato. It's hit his heel and gone in the opposite corner. He's got lucky. A good baden, that is for certain. But credit Velez. We said, what would it take? Mistakes from River, or would it take quality from Velez? Finally, they get in behind the defence. It's a terrific ball from Ortega, and Ordóñez cuts the ball back into the path of Prato. Yes, not a great finish. Centre forwards don't care about that. Any finish that goes over the goal line, hits the back of the net, that's a good finish in their eyes.
Barco. Now the game got interesting. De La Cruz against past Solari. And for Lucas Prato, ending the drought that you just mentioned, we have to go back to see exactly how many minutes it was. It's his third of the season. His first, when was the last time Lucas Prato scored a goal? April 8th. In a 3-3 draw against Banfield. And a ball that gets blocked.
Certainly too long for any attacking player to go without scoring, that's for sure. You can't not score in that many weeks. Too long a goal drought. But let's give him credit. I think Lucas Prato is somebody who works pretty hard on both sides of the ball when he can. He does take up defenders' time, and he does have defenders watching out for him. But look, this is a Velez side that doesn't score that many goals. Only a goal per game coming into this match. So we know that they don't score many. We know that they've struggled. 279 minutes coming into this.
Oh, look, another ball that goes through. I'm sorry. Ooh, watch out with that. Let's see. I'm sorry to jump in. And it'll be a free kick coming up for Velez. Another through ball that's just completely discombobulated the defense, man. I'm sorry.
Absolutely no problem at all. I think the referee's got this right. Yes, it's a foul, but I think it's right on the edge of the box. Outside of the box, that is. I think that's a good decision. It's a lunging, sliding tackle from Gonzalo Pires. He made a couple of those rash challenges in the first half and got away with them. That one he didn't, but let's credit Velez. They only made one substitution, or Ricardo Garreca only made one substitution, very much like for like. But they've just come out with a different mindset, with some belief, with a willingness to attack and get in behind the defence. We say it so many times. Defenders love defending when the ball's in front of them. Turn them, get in behind them, and they hate it. They hate facing their own goal. They never know where to strike the ball. They're worried about slicing it into their own net. Make life uncomfortable for defenders, and finally Velez are doing that.
Gianluca Prestiani, 17. Cristian Ordóñez, 18. And of course, the man that scores the goal, well, you could probably add, well, no, almost. You would still add both of those, and you're about the same age as Lucas Prato. Lucas Prato's 34. Those are the three ultimate culprits in the eventual equalizer for Velez.
Yeah, look, I always think, yes, Velez produced some wonderfully talented kids, we can call them. That's not patronising, they are kids, 17 and 18, they're still kids. Yeah. And Prato, sometimes you need that experience, and certainly Prato is somebody who I feel is a good influence. It looks like it on players, and certainly Diego Godin, you can't have a better influence than he, or a better mentor.
Watch out with this shot off the wall, it'll be a corner kick. I mean, look, the situation, and we go again, this is maybe the third or fourth tournament we've said this. Loato, who's 22, looking inside, cleared away by González Pires. Ortega, as he gets just pulled down, just powered through. And there'll be a yellow card. Now River's starting to find a bit of a struggle. It's Solari that goes into the referee's book.
Yeah, I like that word. They're finding themselves in a little bit of a struggle, a bit of a tussle. and they're losing their discipline. That challenge from Solari is absolutely nonsensical. He picks up a yellow card, makes it much easier for him to get sent off, obviously. Any sliding challenge from now on, he has to be very, very careful. I talked about it coming into this game. 5 red cards in the last 8 games. Lack of discipline, lack of keeping clean sheets. Only 1 clean sheet in the last 6, 1 in the last 7 now.
All driven in, it goes past Godin. Another ball that goes through. Prestiani, a good cross, heading it through! And it was Diego Godin! Godin that hammers it wide of target.
Oh, this is quite delightful from Prestiani, it really is. Of course, no pressure on it, unopposed cross. And Godin, you mentioned him earlier, Juan. Doesn't matter how old he is, he still attacks the ball so well in both penalty areas. He'll be upset here. He almost turns completely around and takes his eye off the ball. He's got to be fully focused. Who am I to tell Godin, but I will. He gets turned around. It looks so he's got to just keep his eye on the ball, head it with the middle of the forehead, back from where it's come from. There's no way he's going to beat Godin or Armani there at the near post. But look, let's credit Velez. Who's a better team in this half? Velez by a country mile so far.
Godin. Ball recovered by Lobato. Brings it back down. It goes over to Elias Cabrera. On paper, he's a number 9, but he's been far from it throughout this match. He's been floating around as Gianetti. Godin. Dropping back again as Ordóñez. Cabrera. Gianetti. Now River beginning to pressure a little bit more, trying to prevent that outlet pass from coming and being so clear. Gianetti. Godin. Prestiani's right smack dab in the middle of the pitch. Prato now is the number 9. Prestiani turning back around as he's pressured by De La Cruz. Lobato opening up in the middle. Godin trying to chip it over, but he loses that ball, and that's a dangerous situation as River find themselves with a great advantage. And now things get even better for River as coming through his Barco. The ball that ends up being blocked tremendously. What an effort there as Lautaro Gianetti showing that Kaiser, that caudillo type of attitude in the back and deflecting what could have been a very dangerous counterattack.
Could have been, and there's cries of handball. Unless his hand is attached to his foot, there's no way in the world that is handball. It's Solari. He's got to do better. It's 3-on-2 in favour of River Plate. Had to do better there. They had to construct at least a goal-scoring opportunity. And it's from Godin, the most experienced player on the pitch by a country mile. River Plate.
Being able to get past 2 defenders. Borja back out wide. De La Cruz. Godin goes up for back of a defender. Prestiani didn't see where he cleared it. Goes right back to Milton Casco. And goes right back out, courtesy of Milton Casco.
Yeah, Prestiani there. I understand why, as a youngster, you just want to clear the ball, get it away, but a player of his ability, that impudence of youth that he's got, should be bringing it down. They need to keep possession for a little time here, Velez, because you just said pressure will start to grow from River. But a player of his ability, that impudence of youth that he's got, should be bringing it down. They need to keep possession for a little time and against this River Plate side. Not only the 11 out there, but also the substitutes they've got and can use on the bench as well.
Well, I've heard people say that they could drive with their knees. I don't think that's something recommendable, though. Kind of like Velez going and defending 30 minutes. They can do it. I don't think it's recommendable. González Pires. Boy, are they right. Goals do change games, don't they? 62 minutes.
They really do, and sometimes half-times do as well, along with the goals.
Another ball that comes through the shot. Chila Gomez Godin clearing it away, toe poking it wide. As Solari came through. Some think that he's one of the revelations at River. Some think that he's as overinflated as some parts of Marcelo Gallardo's statue outside of the Monumental. If you want to know what I'm talking about, check it out on Google. Pushing forward. Guidara pokes it forward. Guidara continues his run down the middle. Loato. And a foul being called is Guidara being called for the infraction on De La Cruz.
Here's that strike from Solari. It's a good save for me from Gomez. Certainly one you'd expect to make. Keeps it low. Solari makes it a little bit harder. Quite sure that's a foul from Guidara. He's played the ball.
That's a harsh one.
Absolutely. He's got no idea that De La Cruz is that side of him either. He's concentrated on the ball. Yes, I'm sure he recognises that someone's close to him, but I don't think there's any intent there. That is a harsh one. Absolutely agree.
Brought down by Nacho Fernandez, cleared away here by Godin. Ordóñez trying to get to it was Damian Fernandez. It finally goes out of bounds, favoring Velez. Lucas Beltran about to come on, in part because Miguel Borja hasn't done anything in this match. Matias Craneviter coming on as well. My bet would be for Nico de la Cruz. Borja. Ball filtered into the middle, cleared away as Ordóñez ends up knocking that ball away.
Well, Borja certainly, I agree, has been ineffective, that's for certain, but he's also had very little service. So he's not somebody who joins in with the build-up play, but he is somebody who thrives on crosses into the box, and he didn't have a great deal of those. De La Cruz off. De La Cruz, one of the players who's picked up a booking as well, so maybe no surprise there.
Craneviter offering a bit more balance. And Craneviter also willing to stay back, allowing Aliendro to push forward. It'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. Aliendro. As Herrera now starts to make his run down the line. Rojas. González Pires back into the middle. Milton Casco with a pass that ends up being a little bit too far back, but Craneviter winning it. Aliendro pushing forward. Here's a good ball to Solari from way outside. Nacho Fernandez. Chila Gomez intervening once more, and another corner kick for River.
Yeah, and what he does really well here, Gomez, as well, as he shovels it off to the side as well. He doesn't offer up a rebound here. It just dips in front of him, just bounces in front of him. He doesn't feel comfortable in just taking it in and handling it first time, so he just parries it away to the side. That's good goalkeeping from Gomez, who's played really well so far.
Nacho with the outswinger, upcoming. Looking to go inside of the air, cleared away by Lucas Prato. Barco. Circulating the ball from one end to the other. Francisco Ortega knocks it out. It'll be Aliendro waiting for Herrera to serve it. No, it'll be the former Colón man taking full advantage, taking initiative. Rojas. And serving it in, goes over everyone's head. As Chila Gomez easily being able to get to it. It was just a very tricky bounce, that's for sure. You're right about that.
Absolutely, bounced straight in front of him. He got his whole body behind the ball. Even if he'd have missed it with his hands, his body was there just to redirect it away from goal. As I say, so many goalkeepers are great shot stoppers, but they offer up rebounds in front of goal. Gomez has tried his best not to do that today, and I love that way. He's just shoveled it off to the side.
67 minutes. Still knotted up at one here. As a man down for River. Or is it just because he's tying his shoe? Nope, it'll be Damian Fernandez. Two more subs coming for Velez. And Lucas Prato coming off. The man that gave the equalizer to Velez. Is Abdiel Osorio. Now, the last time these two teams played, River was going into stoppage time with a 2-1 advantage. And it's Osorio that ends up scoring the equalizer. And basically the last touch of the match for Velez to come away with a 2-2 draw. Cristiani, watch out as they now start to accelerate a little bit more. To who was that pass? It was cleared away by Marcelo Herrera. Lucas Beltran. A couple of months ago, they were asking for Lucas Beltran to get called up to the national team. Good player, but maybe a bit of a stretch knowing who's in front of him. Lobato continues play. Well, at least he wanted to, but the referee had already called the infraction. As Marcelo Herrera gets called for the foul on the young Brazilian. Not sure if he did get the yellow card finally. It seemed like the referee had it in hand. As we will wait to see where this ball goes through. Another player that came in was Matias Sewani. He's the one that replaced Damian Fernandez. Confirmed, Herrera ends up getting the yellow card. Cleared away by Gonzalez Pires. Fifth yellow card of the match. And now it's Milton Casco. Beltran looking to run into space, but it's covered very well. Velez right now playing the game of their lives. Cristiani, and as soon as they, what a collision. Nacho Fernandez takes the worst end of it. It was Tomas Guidara. It'll be Nacho with the free kick.
Well, he absolutely knows what he's doing here, Guidara. He should be booked. He absolutely body checks Nacho Fernandez, because Nacho Fernandez is breaking onto a loose ball and Guidara's beating his face in the wrong way. Referee lets him get away with that. If you watch it again, if we see it, Guidara not playing the ball whatsoever, just playing the man.
Beltran. As Velez just punts that ball deep. Final 20 minutes of this encounter.
It's still a long while left. They've still got substitutions to make of River, and they've got exciting attacking players out there. Hasn't quite worked out for them so far.
Godin, as the foul will be called on Gonzalez Pires.
Well, and that's a foul, and that's a yellow card. It should be.
It should be, right?
Absolutely, 100%. A tackle from behind in the middle of the park. That's the type of challenge you used to put in the early 2000s when it's just letting the centre forward know you're there early on in the game. That is 100%, or should be, a yellow card. Not in the slightest playing the ball.
One of those infamous, it can't be a yellow card in the second minute type of foul you talking about?
Absolutely. And yes, you could, and the early 2000s, early 90s or mid 90s when I was playing, you couldn't get booked that early on, or very hard to. Nowadays you can. Yeah. You certainly should be when it's minute 70 and you actually go through the back of somebody.
Yeah, because you can break someone's leg in the first minute, you can break them in the 95th. I mean, let's be completely honest. Godin! Rojas coming in with authority, as he always does, especially in the air. As Beltran just lets it go out. Ortega. Of course, the numerical superiority by River on that side at least briefly had them winning that ball. Giannetti. Goes to Cristiani, now he starts to accelerate, trying to go around three, maybe a little bit too much for that. And again, in the process, he commits the foul. Lost it and came in late.
Just gets bumped off the ball, and then again, this is another one that with other referees is a yellow card.
You're right. You're right. You got your podium? It's starting to get hard to pick one, isn't it? And now for all the right reasons, I may say. Prestiani looking for Adiel Osorio. Rojas winning that ball in the air with authority. But a foul's called as the Paraguayan ends up taking a shot to the liver.
It's certainly getting more physical, that is for certain, the game. And with the referee, Fernando Echenique, letting things go, it's only going to get more and more physical. This, of course, is the pullback, and this is for me, a little bit of a misplaced finish. You see the way he opens up the left foot and he actually heels it into the other side of the goal.
But some
friendly gesturing from the children behind the goal as well.
Oh yeah, of course. What I also would like to stick with that goal, it's not the goal itself. Maybe it's not even the pass itself. It's how Elias Cabrera ends up just taking the bull by the horns and dribbling through. Oh, by the way, Elias Cabrera's 20. Beltran. And ends up sending that through ball that ends up being the pass that leads to the pass that leads to the goal. Barco. Beltran, Barco once again going through. No foul being called. And boy, this game is becoming very entertaining and also dramatic in a lot of increasing doses. As a foul will be called, River will get it back.
Look, it's very entertaining for the neutral. I don't think it's entertaining for either head coach here. The game's got so spread, it's so open, it's got very physical. Chances are being created. And when you talk about Elias Cabrera being 20 years old, Juan, and you think, wow, he's almost the old man of some of those players playing in this Velez Sarsfield team, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20, 22. It really is great to see. And that production line of quality young talent, it's just amazing when certain teams keep producing it wherever it may be in the world. Velez Sarsfield, it's quite amazing how much quality they produce and how much money they make from those young players as well.
I mean, if you, it's crazy to say this, but Lucas Prato's career, okay? Lucas Prato started over in Defensores de Cambaceres before he ends up playing at Boca, where he started his career. Gianluca Prestiani was not born yet. Nacho Fernandez waiting for that ball to come in, courtesy of Milton Casco. It'll be another corner kick. I just wanted to put that pause there so you have a little bit of perspective. Julian Fernandez was born that year, basically. Exactly, I agree with whoever the fans say, yes, whatever.
That's when it becomes amazing, though. And that's when you need to have those mentors in a team as well. Somebody of the magnitude and the length of the career, that longevity. He's already proven, Prato, still to be playing at 34, that he does have that ability to look after himself and still be playing. You can't fail but look up to him.
And that ball coming through, Chila Gomez punching it away. Of course, when even more perspective, but perspective is what Gianluca Prestiani has. He has a man over on the right. Prestiani continues to go through. Prestiani cutting back inside, give and go. Oh, he misses, hits the wrong side of the netting. It could have been 2-1 right there. Unbelievable, the break, and also unbelievable how poor River's defending, especially after a set piece.
Yeah, it really is. They're in attack. It's their attacking corner kick, and they get undone. It's really just a straight run by Prestiani. Again, it's one of those sort of wrong option. There's no way in the world you're going to beat a goalkeeper like Armani from that angle. You've got to fire across goal. You either hit the far side netting or Armani has to offer up a rebound. But that sometimes they're the wrong options that younger players take. Cabrera was that man.
So Elias Cabrera comes off. He's replaced by Julian Fernandez. Oh, by the way, to give you even more perspective, when Lucas Prato debuted as a professional in the first division, Gianluca Prestiani was not even a year old yet. Barco. Circling around, recovered by Gianetti. Your silence astonishes me, Matt Lawrence.
It's because I remember back being 34, 35 as a professional player and playing with the likes of whether it be Victor Moses or Wilfried Zaha at Crystal Palace, and then being 16 or 17 and trotting over from the academy and playing with the first team and them still running by me.
Remember running, of course, a former player professionally, Kalen Carr, he's talking about him playing with Beckham. I said, how old were you, 4? Ball comes through. Solari! Cleared away by Godin. And you understand what I mean when you see Kalen Carr. you end up thinking he's like 18. It'll be a corner kick coming up for River.
What we always have to go back to is it's great to have those mentors and those influential figures.
Yes, sir.
It's also great to have, I'll say it again, this production line at Velez. It really is. It's a joy to behold so many young players. And you look at a 22-year-old like Lobato who's came on at half-time and you think, wow, he's an old man at 22.
Yeah, you're like, a kid? No, he's not a kid. That's like sometimes when they go and say, hey, you know what? This guy's a kid at 23. No, he's not. He's a man. Ball that is served in but cleared away by Velez. Having to drop back, and Nacho Fernandez is not happy. Armani, 79 minutes. And there will be another substitution coming on. Coming off will be Gianluca Prestiani. As Santiago Castro coming on. Santiago Castro, well, you end up bringing off Prestiani and you bring in an old man in Santiago Castro at 18 years of age. A ball that's won again by Velez. Full speed ahead is Castro. Oh, couldn't get that ball through Lobato. Of course, with all these subs, it's making Lobato look ancient.
Yeah, he's aging with every minute, isn't he? Lobato, and I don't mean in terms of every minute of his life. I mean, it feels like every minute, I'm sure for him it's another year. But you just can't fail to marvel at the fact that they're bringing 17, 18-year-olds off, bringing another 18-year-old off, bringing a 20-year-old off, bringing a 22-year-old on.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite remarkable, and still, you need those older heads. I'll always stand by it. Whether it be Prato, whether it be Diego Godin, whether it be Gianetti, obviously the skipper at 29.
Yeah, I mean, Gianetti, imagine that. I mean, you know, you're talking about him being one of the elder statesmen at 29. Godin ends up being Methuselah next to him, too.
Absolutely. Look, Gianetti would be, you know, it'd be an average age. Late 20s, early 30s is an average age at many squads around the world, many squads in Argentina as well. But right here, as you say, Gianetti is almost claiming his bus pass.
Diego Godin's just 2 years younger than Nigel Reo-Coker. I hope he didn't hear that. Santi Castro gets past 2, pulls through a third, but great job there in the middle by Aliendro. This match is just pretty much going anyone's way. Of course, when one says River can win, lose, or draw this match, it's obvious, but based on how this match is progressing, goal! And as soon as I say that, the champions in waiting strike back, and River once again take the lead. You can't keep them down for long, And when you do have them down, you better make sure you take advantage. As again, Herrera finding none other than right there, Beltran waiting, and you had two options. Option number two, off the bench, makes it 2-1.
Absolutely, that's the quality they've got. And the way he just finds that little pocket of space in between the two centre halves. Just holds his run and guides that ball so delicately into that near post area. It's a terrific header. They haven't been great in this second half, but when you can bring on players, the talent of the likes of Paladella or Lucas Beltran, it becomes very, very hard to defend for a whole 90 minutes against this team. And look, they will grind out results. This is a team that haven't been playing well lately, whether it be Libertadores or whether it be domestically, but they find ways to win.
Now River feel like the chum is in the water. It's Paradela. Solari! It's knocked away. For Beltran, his 6th of the season. Now, it's been a while for him. Since April 14th, his last goal. It was a 3-0 victory against Gimnasia. I'm not sure why the fans are insulting Velez right now. Chila Gomez taps it away. Chasing, and who's going to get to it first? Paradela. Osorio. The through ball ends up not being so clear, but Lobato ended up doing enough to kind of redirect that ball. 6 goals for Beltran, and he's still on the outside looking in, of course. And that traffic jam at the top of the Argentine league is Santiago Simon and Sin Palavecino coming on. So, I mean, you see your point exactly. When you start having these substitutes as options, it's kind of difficult.
It is. You have to defend for your life for every single minute of the 90. It might go to 100 if there's a lot of additional time. It becomes difficult when Velez, as much as we talk about the production line, when you're bringing on 17, 18-year-old kids for other 17, 18-year-olds, and River are bringing off a Barco and bringing on a Palavecino or bringing on a Santiago Simon, players of vast experience, players of experience not only domestically but also in continental football as well. On paper, this shouldn't be a contest, but you have to credit Velez for me, and you're talking about the players being berated by the supporters. I find that very, very hard to swallow. You only have to look at the wage bill, the amount of money these players cost in comparison to the Velez players. I don't want to be patronising and say they've done well to hold their own, but they've made a real game of it after not being at the race in the first half. And look, you've got the quality of the likes of Beltran. It was just such a great header as well.
And what's even scarier is the fact that River end up facing a team like Fluminense, and then you look at Fluminense and you're like, well, River might not have that many players as well. So you end up looking at the Brazilian sides, and you're like, well, oh, I can't see River being able to win a Libertadores.
Well, that is the gulf, isn't it? It's the gulf domestically between River and most of the 27 teams below them.
Watch out with this shot. Goal! Goal! Ortega makes it 2-2 with an amazing shot out of nowhere, and a play that just ended up creating itself with so much space and so much time. Pancho Ortega ends up making Franco Armani look silly. Yet again, we're tied up at 2.
You cannot have that much time and space on the edge of the area. Yes, he strikes it well, Ortega. I love the way he gets both feet off the ground. It's terrific technique. But what on earth is Franco Armani looking at? Yes, the ball dips a little bit. We know that happens with a modern football. He's played with a modern football for the last 4 or 5 years. They've got lighter, they move more in the air, and he gets it all wrong. any goalkeeping coach, get your body behind the ball. He doesn't do it. He goes at it with his hands instead of moving his feet. That should not end up in the back of the net. One, I don't want to discredit Ortega, but you have to discredit the goalkeeping.
No, you're not. I fully agree. But tis is the level that Franco Armani's playing at right now. Another corner kick, gonna be para de la, looking to clear that ball out, Velez. Now, this game has just been so unpredictable. It seemed like River had just kind of buried the hatchet, and all of a sudden, Velez created a chance, and River's defense just absolutely statuesque.
Yeah, it was, and for me, it's defensive midfield players as well. They've got to close down Ortega. There's too many players in front of the ball, not enough players behind the ball. Ortega, you said it, had all the time in the world. Yes, it's a good first touch. Yes, it's a good strike, but no one got anywhere near him. And then Armani, he makes an error. And look, they give the ball away here as well. One square pass into Ortega, and that goes through Armani. I have no idea what he's doing. I really don't. I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not a goalkeeping coach, obviously. But you have to get your body behind the ball. It doesn't swerve that much. You've got to get your chest square. If you miss it with your hands, it barrels off your chest.
Yeah, but you don't, as a goalkeeper, you have to put your body in front of the ball. You can't let it swerve to the side like it did. I mean, Armani looked like he had Tyrannosaurus Rex arms with that shot. It was just that bad. And now Velez with a new lease on life. Barreling forward. Ordóñez looking to cross it in. Was there a handball? The referee says yes. As González Pires out on an island all by himself. I'm not saying that was the only recourse he had, but he had to go out and do something.
Yeah, look, he has to try and block the cross, that's for certain. He makes himself big, and there is the use of the arm. The modern game, interpretation of the laws of handball, it absolutely is handball. And they fancy themselves now here at Velez. Not long left, they've got themselves back into the game, just minutes after conceding the second and going down a goal. And another goal conceded by River, another 2 today against the Velez Sarsfield team, lying 26th out of 28 coming into this game.
One more chance here for Velez. Now, it could end up 3-3, it could end up 4-3, it could end up 2-2. We'll see how it plays out. Ball being centered in, it gets knocked out. Ortega. Another chance here, trying to head it through. Great save by Armani. But he was offside.
He's very, very happy he was offside because he's headed that at a really, really nice height. Makes it very easy for the goalkeeper, Armani. You head that one down into that far corner. Armani can't make that save.
First goal this, and I forgot to mention it, first goal of the season for Francisco Ortega, the native of Santa Fe. His last goal was back on October 17th in a 4-0 victory over Estudiantes. Ball being sent in. Chila Gomez sprawls on the ground, nobody getting to it. And it's cleared away by Ortega. Matt, can we find a way to make a podium here?
It's going to be very, very difficult, that is for certain. This game now as well has got so open. The cross there is absolutely fantastic. The goalkeeper can't really come for it. It's almost too good for Beltran. It's quality from Paladella. The podium's got to be about 10 deep, hasn't it?
At this point, yeah. I think we could make a podium 23 and younger, as far as, and then we can make one 20. Yeah, we could make another one that's, well, maybe not. But you kind of get the point that this has been it's been a very entertaining football match. Let's say that.
Yeah, and again, I'll go back to it's a very entertaining football match for a neutral, for us as observers, for not really any skin in the game. I don't think there's any
football match
for us as observers, for not really any. Velez thinks this is entertaining. River Plate side, this quality of River. You take the lead in the 82nd minute and you concede just minutes later. That can't happen. It shouldn't happen.
It's clearing it out as we are near stoppage time. Near halfway point of stoppage time, I should say. Paradela. I could see one more goal left in this match.
Well, I think I'd be a fool to bet against it.
Rojas. Now, which side? I don't know. Lobato goes down. Again, it's been interesting to see. Of course, River, despite if this result remains, River still expand their lead to 6 points. It's not the end of the world, but you start looking at it from a functionality standpoint, and you do end up raising some question marks. Although many in the Argentine media are just hailing and praising Martín de Michelis. It's not his fault. But many in the media are praising him as the second coming of Jupp Heynckes and Pep Guardiola put all it together. Good ball cut back in. So unbelievable how Castro decides. I don't know what he was looking to do. He crosses it with the potency of a shot.
Absolutely. It's got to be pulled back. It's got to be pulled back along the floor. Again, you talk about youngsters and choosing the wrong option, and that was Castro, that was the wrong option. You cut it back towards the top of the 18-yard box. There are two white shirts there. Very, very hard as a defender to defend that pullback. It can't be the defenders, it then has to be the defensive midfield players defending those pullbacks. But if you blast it over to the far side and it goes off for a throw-in, it's very easy to defend.
Kind of complicated ball, and now River on the attack. We've seen a lot of times River being able to score in the very last minute of play. Aliendro just couldn't keep it under control. It'll go out of bounds, and that could be the last bit of action that we see, as that is it. There is no more, as the Sly Fox and the debutante end up seeing the respective teams come away with 1 point, sharing the points here in Liniers. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, I think it just about feels like a fair result. I think that River Plate were much the better team in the first half and probably should have had more than the 1-goal lead. I think Velez showed some real mettle, some real heart and fight in this second half. They will have felt a little unlucky to go behind to the Beltran goal in the 82nd minute, but they came back. They came back through Ortega. Yes, slightly gifted to them by Armani, but for me, a fair result. But ultimately, exactly what you said, Juan. Let's not forget, River have got a point here. They've gone another point ahead of the chasing pack, and I don't envisage anybody catching them. But what you have seen today is that fallibility defensively. That means the goalkeeper too. And when you come up against teams like the strongest, or you come up against teams like Fluminense, obviously, in Conmebol Libertadores, you can't be that porous. You're going to get beaten easily. And Fluminense did it 5-1 in Brazil. And who's not to say that they won't do that here in Argentina as well? So, yes, a point, and they'll take it, River Plate. But that fallibility, that porous nature of the defence, they need to sort that out soon. 1 clean sheet in 7 games, not good enough for a team of this quality.
Yeah, and just keep in mind that right now Fluminense are the best team in this area of the world at this moment. So again, your final score from Liniers: Velez 2, River 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Matt, as always, love being alongside you. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, people. Ciao. Take it away, Fran.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Mats. What a great game we have seen.